Patients put their lives and trust in the doctors who treat them. On rare occasions, that trust is horribly misplaced.
It's one of the worst abuse cases, patient abuse cases I've seen.
At first, was there disbelief?
Yes.
You didn't think this could be true?
No.
This week, a medical melodrama that left a string of female victims and defrauded taxpayers in a disturbing case of broken trust.
College football is headed into the playoff season, but young athletes are headed into an even bigger competition.
And there is so much money involved here that it's just unconscionable to cut them out of it.
This week, a look at how money for athletes as early as high school is changing the game in college sports.
Drug warnings come with all the medications we take, but there are concerns that those warnings don't take long-term impacts into consideration.
Our exposure to different environments can alter our epigenetics.
Something that might not go wrong in your body normally could be triggered by a medicine or a treatment, and
Exactly.
like the sexual dysfunction.
Exactly.
We examine the wide-ranging effect of medicine on our very genetic structure and our health.
Welcome to Full Measure. I'm Sharyl Attkisson. Today we track what has to be one of the most alarming and egregious cases of a doctor putting profits over patients. It's the shocking case of a Virginia OB-GYN who charmed his way into families' lives only to betray them for money, performing needless surgeries that scarred women forever, often at taxpayer expense. The broken trust raises an important question: how such a doctor managed to thrive in the U.S. medical system for so many decades, despite the red flags.
For over 3 decades, Shannon Lilly and her family placed their trust in Dr. Havaid Perwaiz, a respected obstetrician gynecologist in Virginia.
Started in 1983 with my mother because he delivered both of my sisters.
She says Dr. Perwaiz was like family, charming her on frequent visits. She became his patient at age 18.
His demeanor is so soft and so soothing and so believable and just very Dr. Zhivago, almost. Like, that is how our family has kind of, coined him, because he's very suave and handsome, and like he always would say, "Oh, Shannon, you look just like your mother. You're so beautiful." Like, he just had a way of just soothsaying women.
Only later would Lilly learn that beneath Dr. Perwaiz's suave appearance was a greed-driven criminal who shattered the trust of hundreds of women, leaving some with irreversible injuries. Over a decade, Perwaiz allegedly subjected Lilly to a dozen uterine procedures like scopings, polyp removals, and DNCs to remove tissue. She says she drew the line at a hysterectomy he pushed for, canceling it the day before.
And I called him on his personal cell phone. And he said, "You can't do this." I said, I'm not doing this. I'm not ready. I can't put my body through this right now. It's not a good time. And he became, for the first time, an emotion that I had never seen in him before or heard.
Which was what?
Disdain.
Over the years, Lilly faced complicated pregnancies, severe scarring, and warnings from other doctors about potential birth defects or infertility, issues she now attributes to Perwaiz's interventions.
Both of my children were very difficult childbirths. I almost died on both of them afterwards. I think that I was just so scarred inside that it wasn't able to just hold them like that my body should have.
The truth emerged in late 2019 when the FBI called, telling Lilly that Dr. Perwaiz was under investigation for fraud and unnecessary surgeries.
And then I was contacted stating, "You were a patient of Dr. Perwaiz, letting you know that your health records are being taken to a facility and being reviewed. Would you like a copy of them? And it just started spiraling from there.
At first, was there disbelief?
Yes.
You didn't think this could be true?
No. The last time I saw him, he had these like electric blue tennis shoes on. He was always spiffed up and just, perfectly groomed. And I said, "Don't retire on me anytime soon." I said, I will not ever retire. And that was it. Those are my last words.
It's one of the worst abuse cases, patient abuse cases I've seen.
Maureen Dixon, a special agent with the Health and Human Services Inspector General, helped lead the probe.
He really was kind of an institution in that area. And unfortunately, what he did was take advantage of that trust and violate his sacred oath. And he essentially hurt people for money. He committed healthcare fraud, but worse than that is he actually was hurting his patients.
She says the investigation was sparked by an anonymous nurse's tip in 2018 about unnecessary surgeries on Medicaid patients. Investigators revealed numerous schemes, including early baby deliveries scheduled for Dr. Perwase's convenience and cash.
He did it so many times. The nurses actually had a term for it. It was called a Perwase special. And that unfortunately meant there was an infant who was delivered before 39 weeks who was having some kind of medical situation that required them to either go to the NICU, fluid in their lungs, things of that nature.
Delivered unnecessarily before.
Correct.
What are some of the other overarching themes?
Another area of particular concern would be he would tell a patient that they needed to have a certain organ removed, whether it was, say, your ovaries. However, when they'd wake up from the surgery, they had a hysterectomy instead. So he would frequently do something different than what the patient consented to.
Alleged victims included a 33-year-old who consented to cyst removal but woke up to find her ovaries gone. Another patient says she agreed to ovary removal but got a full hysterectomy. Others reportedly suffered bowel punctures, nerve damage, and a child with cerebral palsy after a premature C-section.
And there were other women that he told they had cancer and needed a hysterectomy, or they would get cancer if they didn't have it, and none of that was true.
At times, he would say that he was taking a biopsy. However, he wasn't. Frequently, he was not actually taking biopsies or sending biopsies out to have them viewed. He was just telling you had cancer. So to be intentionally scaring people into thinking you have cancer or intentionally misdiagnosing it is absolutely egregious.
Red flags dated back decades. Fired in 1982 from Maryview Hospital for 11 unnecessary hysterectomies on young women, censured in 1984 for a sexual relationship with a patient, convicted in 1996 of 2 tax fraud felonies. Before his 2019 arrest, Perwase admitted in a recorded interview to seeing an incredible number of patients.
Do you know about how many patients you have overall?
Thousands.
Thousands? Okay.
Yeah, I've been in practice for 39 years.
Yes, sir.
So you can add, if I see even 100 patients a week.
Okay. That's a lot.
400 maybe a month.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Maybe 5,000 a year.
Okay.
4,000, something like that.
Dr. Perwase quickly clammed up, admitting no wrongdoing. A hotline drew over 500 complaints. In 2020, a jury convicted him on 52 counts, including healthcare fraud involving the taxpayer programs Medicare and Medicaid. He's serving a 59-year prison sentence.
Were you able to quantify how much he defrauded the government or insurance programs?
We ended up with a restitution amount of about $20 million. So that is what we estimate the loss was here that we could prove as well. This, like I said before, was an extremely egregious case, and while recovering $20 million of taxpayer funds is important, it really pales in comparison to stopping what he was doing to all these patients and women who maybe never will be able to have children because of his actions.
Today, Lily says she struggles with distrust, avoiding doctors and questioning every medical interaction. We asked her to read the conclusion of the victim impact statement she wrote.
You have had a tremendous impact on every woman who trusts you. No two journeys the same, no two stories alike, no one resolving factor that could bring peace to the havoc you have brought to each and every one of us. You have become a ghost to me, Mr. Purway. My only wish is that the dollar signs you saw in each of us are replaced by the faces of all of your ghosts. Your patients, all of the women who trusted you, and that you are haunted by us, all for the entire 465 years you deserve.
A federal grand jury has now indicted the hospital where Purway practiced for 35 years up until his arrest, Chesapeake Regional Medical Center. The charges are healthcare fraud and conspiracy to defraud the government, since hospital officials allegedly knew about the accusations of unnecessary surgeries and felony convictions. According to prosecutors, in the 9 years prior to his arrest, the hospital received $18.5 million from insurance as a result of procedures Dr. Purway conducted. Hospital officials deny any wrongdoing. Coming up on Full Measure, more money into the pockets of student athletes at a younger age. A groundbreaking lawsuit has changed the game for high school athletes, allowing them to sign deals for compensation earlier than ever before. Lisa Fletcher explores the continuing shifts in the rules that are reshaping college sports.
KJ McCoo is an offensive lineman at Tennessee State. Off the field during his college career, which began with 3 seasons at Florida A&M before playing at Tennessee State, he signed a few endorsement deals.
And I'm here with Positivity Alkaline Water.
But 6 years ago, when McCoo was being recruited for his size and strength, strict rules barred him and other high school athletes from lucrative name, image, and likeness, or NIL, agreements before getting into college.
I think for some time, athletes have been struggling as far as off the field to be able to take care of themselves, that maybe the scholarship doesn't always cover.
Now there's a huge shift in the rules, largely due to the actions of Tennessee Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti.
And there is so much money involved here that it's just unconscionable to cut him out of it.
Skrmetti helped lead an antitrust lawsuit to force the NCAA, the body that regulates college athletics, to let high school athletes ink commercial deals before they even sign with a college.
They have a legal right to name, image, and likeness money. And if you don't allow them to explore the opportunities out there, you're depriving them of the ability to benefit from market forces.
Under mounting pressure from lawsuits and states, the NCAA has been loosening its NIL rules for years. In 2021, the NCAA began allowing athletes to negotiate NIL deals formerly reserved for pro athletes, but only once they're enrolled at a college. In 2022, more states started allowing NIL deals in high school. In 2024, Tennessee sued the NCAA over barring high school deals. A judge temporarily halted the ban. In March, a court approved a settlement with the NCAA, permanently lifting the high school NIL ban. Some states, like Oklahoma and California, had already acted to allow high school deals. That's how baseball star Ethan Holiday became the first high school athlete to get a deal with Adidas in January. It's also how Bryce James, son of basketball superstar LeBron James, signed with Nike and others in 2022 while still in high school. Now, those opportunities are open to high schoolers in all 50 states.
Well, the rules were arbitrary and arbitrarily enforced, and they came at the expense of student athletes. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry where everybody involved was getting rich except for the players who were absolutely necessary for the whole thing to happen. And that's against the law. Federal antitrust law prevents entities from suppressing competition that benefits consumers and participants.
Is there a risk in all of this that
The schools are going to see the students that are getting the big NIL deals before they've committed to a university, entice them with more money, and it's going to create a have and a have-not situation in terms of college athletics across the country?
Yeah, I mean, there are a bunch of risks involved in this. We've seen a massive transition from the glorious old amateur days where, you just grab a couple guys, throw on some leather helmets and get out there and get at it. It's a much more sophisticated world now. There's an imbalance not just between the haves and have-nots of schools, but between the people who run the system and the student athletes who participate in it. And given how much money is coming in, the student athletes have a very reasonable argument that they deserve their fair share of that.
Already, some 450,000 college athletes earn money through NIL deals. Under the new rules allowing high schoolers to get a piece of the action, the industry is projected to grow from $1 billion to $5 billion by 2023. Most of the compensation turns out to be modest. Tennessee State Lady Tiger guard Anaya Webb's Instagram ad for Powerade nets her $600. But she worries the new rules will create incentive for high school athletes to only follow the money.
It was really different. We had to wait until we were actually in a program and settled in. And while we were doing that, we still had to go find a shop for our own NILs. It wasn't just given to us.
Is it very different good, very different bad?
I feel like it's very different bad because athletes are going to be more sold on the money than the actual school.
KJ McCoo didn't get big bucks from the deals he negotiated while in college. He got free clothes from the brand Hollister and supplies of bottled water from that Instagram ad. He's mixed on the new money opportunities for high school athletes.
I think there are definitely pros and cons to this. Athletes being able to really benefit from it increases the overall morale, and it's nothing like being able to take care of home while being able to take care of yourself on the field as well. But if that is the sole purpose of which you're determining what's a good fit or not, I think there needs to be some reevaluation there.
For now, courts are deciding what athletes can earn. The next move may be Congress. The question ahead isn't whether college athletes get paid, it's who controls the game. In Nashville, Tennessee, I'm Lisa Fletcher for Full Measure.
Ahead on Full Measure, how your health might be helped or hurt through epigenetics. Why do some people pop a pill or get a shot with no ill effects, yet others are left with lifelong side effects or even die? A growing field called epigenetics may offer clues. It's how your unique life exposures flip genetic switches on or off, turning safe treatments risky for some. Today, we hear more from an epigenetics researcher.
More than 2 decades ago, researcher Anthony Choka zeroed in on a hidden toll of long-term drug side effects. He noticed patients on SSRIs, common antidepressants, grappling with sexual issues that lingered after they quit the medicine.
The sexual dysfunction was on the label. It has been on the label for quite some time, but it's not described as persistent sexual dysfunction after discontinuation. So that's really the sort of heart of the issue. I published some case reports with psychiatrists. This was in the early to mid-2000s, and also started to look at the epigenetic effects of SSRIs a little while later on human cells and culture, and found that the drugs can actually cause epigenetic changes in cells.
Epigenetic changes are like invisible tweaks to your DNA controls. Your genes are silenced or activated by daily assaults, toxic chemicals in food, polluted air and water, chronic stress, smoking, or prescription medicine.
Our exposure to different environments can alter our epigenetics.
Something that might not go wrong in your body normally could be triggered by a medicine or a treatment, and
Exactly.
like the sexual dysfunction.
Exactly.
Experts now suspect epigenetics may explain why some drugs spark irreversible changes in vulnerable patients long after the last dose of medicine. Genes get rewired, refusing to reset. Take Accutane, the acne fighter infamous for triggering depression, suicidal urges, sexual problems, joint pain, and inflammatory bowel disease, emerging months or years after the medicine is stopped. Propecia or Proscar to treat hair loss can unleash enduring sexual dysfunction, depression, suicidal thoughts and other psychiatric conditions, muscle weakness, and brain fog. Cholesterol-lowering statins like Lipitor, Zocor, and Crestor can cause persistent muscle pain, weakness, kidney failure, cognitive issues, and nerve pain. And besides sexual dysfunction, SSRI antidepressants like Paxil can cause flu-like symptoms and ongoing anxiety, mood problems, and insomnia years later. In the bigger picture, do you think what's being learned about medicines impacting genes turning on or being damaged or harmful things happening may explain a lot of chronic disorders and lingering side effects people have from medications?
Absolutely, absolutely, yep.
How important is that area of research, do you think?
I think it's hugely important, massively important. And I think that it's not just medications, it's also, chemicals, viruses probably can have epigenetic effects. There's, so-called post-viral syndromes that are being described now.
Researchers are still learning how COVID and COVID vaccines have caused changes in people's bodies in the long term. Ill effects can persist or even surface for the first time years after the vaccine or infection, perhaps explained by epigenetics. What is your sort of takeaway?
I think scientists and clinicians need to pay more attention to this. Also, there should be more public awareness campaigns, I think. Pharmacology arguably has been an oversimplification in the sense that it's not just a matter of putting a chemical into somebody or on cells and something has changed, you remove it and everything goes back to normal, everything reverses. I think that's an oversimplification. Like things can leave an imprint, like a hand in clay or something like that.
Choka is part of an active citizen petition that asks the FDA to revise the warning labels on SSRI antidepressants to note that sexual side effects may persist after patients stop taking the drugs and may even be permanent. After a break, we'll have what's ahead next week on Full Measure. Coming up next week on Full Measure, one man's fight against a flesh-eating disease exposed remarkable flaws in America's process for finding crucial medical treatments. How the cure he invented for himself could help millions. Next week on Full Measure. Until then, we'll be searching for more stories that hold powers accountable. Thanks for watching. I'm Sharyl Attkisson.